We called it a special place to be. It was the phrase, everybody just loved it so much that one of the principals, I think, then coined the phrase, Willow Glen is a special place to be, and everybody felt that way. The teachers felt engaged with each other as a team. We felt a belonging here, and we wanted to pass that on to the children. And because we felt at home here, it was our home away from home during the day. But the children, I think we tried to make them feel that to come to school was a safe place, a warm place, a loving place where they could learn and grow, and it was a special place. I mean, that's where learning happens, when you feel relaxed and belonging, and yeah, that's where that phrase came from.
Officially inaugurated on the 9th of August of 1958, Willow Glen's ribbon-cutting ceremony counted with the presence of the Mayor of London, England, Sir Dennis Truscott. This because the corporation that developed the homes in this area, then known as Park Royal, was based out of London, England, and the Mayor was here for a ceremony celebrating the development. This sculpture, a dilapidated remnant of Port Royal's first days, was unveiled by Sir Truscott right before heading to Willow Glen's inauguration. Little information seems to have been recorded and preserved over the years about the school or the area, except for a slim folder kept in the Canadiana room of Mississauga's Central Library. Here we can find a couple of newspaper clippings as well as an entire advertising section inserted into the Financial Post of August 16, 1958. Touted as half industrial and half residential, over the years the area filled in with a mixed, albeit largely blue-collar population. In 1965 there was some controversy due to plans to have 55 low rental housing units in the area, with R.A. Searle, who at the time was a councillor and later would become mayor of Mississauga, telling the crowd in attendance that the only difference between them and the people who would be living in the low-rent housing was their income, while also calling for residents not to think that the children of the new tenants were unfit to play with theirs. At Willow Glen at least, they must have mingled and played together. Willow Glen celebrated 50 years of activity in 2009 and is now 3 years away from its 60th anniversary. It is very likely that some of its students excelled, achieved notoriety or recognition over these almost 6 decades as something more than good people and hard workers. However, it must have been away from the public eye, or reference was not made to Willow Glen, for there are no such records among the sources consulted. What is known, and what Willow Glen excelled at, was in caring for and preparing many young ones and their families for life and work in Canada.
The staff, the students, the parents, the administration, we all worked together, and one person wasn't more important than the other person. We were all here for the kids, to take them intellectually ahead, emotionally ahead, socially ahead. We used to say we were doctors, nurses, social workers. A number of different jobs we had, and we didn't complain about it. We were here for the kids. That was our main goal. It was to look after the kids, and in doing so, we got to meet parents, and some of them needed looking after too. So we worked both with kids and parents.
I think the fact is that I've been in other schools where the bulletin boards are just plain. Here they celebrate. Children are celebrated in this place. If they're doing work, we want the parents and anybody that comes to visit to know how much we value the children individually, not just as a class, but we are going to celebrate. Oh, there's another special person to talk to. Come along, my darling. We need to have a hug on camera. This is a precious treasure.
What are the odds I would see you?
Meant to be, meant to be. She volunteered in my class the last year and made my life, as always volunteers do, they make your life just triple what it can be when you're working alone. So another team person, amazing parent.
This will be our last volunteer appreciation assembly. We've had these assemblies for 9 years while I've been here, and we've had them for probably 11 years before I was here, and probably a few years years even before that. So it's a tradition that is coming to an end, so it's a little bit sad. But what makes it so happy is that we're here to celebrate just how valuable and wonderful and caring and helpful our volunteers are. I think what we need to do is say a huge thank you to our volunteers. So let's do that together. Let's say thank you. And from the final principal of Willow Glen, a huge thank you to all of you.
But again, immediately you come in this place, the artwork is celebrated, the parents celebrate the children, and also there are outreaches to an international interest, you know, particularly with our librarian Colleen Crosby, who brought in the Sleeping Children Around the World focus and got children thinking about how lucky we are here. We have a wonderful school, we have homes, but there are children around the world, all over the world, that do not have a warm bed, do not have books, do not have lunch box, do not have food, do not have a sleeping place. So she got a map of the world on one of the bulletin boards right over there, and she had us all donating if we walked for a specific, or fundraisers. And every so often, I think it was, I don't remember how much money, about $30 would buy a bed kit. And then a retired teacher, Ken Dryden, the hockey player, started this for free. There wasn't any kind of administration money. $30 bought a bed kit, and a teacher paid to deliver it to a child. A picture was taken with the bed kit, brought back to the school so the school could see the child across the world that now slept because they bothered to share. Anyway, and now they're doing all sorts of building schools here. And in other words, the outreach, there was always outreach. Terry Fox walks and all sorts of fundraisers were going on for local initiatives, but also to international things. And that's really how this interest in the quilting got happening, because we were making quilts as a project for the Interim Place local women's shelter. And we were just making tiny little pieces of, tiny pieces of material, but they would go into little lap quilts. And we'd take them down when they were finished, but the children signed the back of it. It was a donation from each child to someone, they didn't know who. They just knew that they were giving their time and having fun together making it. But then it would go to somebody else. And in the end, we were doing that for I don't know how many years. And then, of course, the important person, Lisa, comes to mind, because the volunteerism in this school is huge. People care and want to be part of a winning community. And after school, very often Lisa and I went to Tim Hortons around the corner. And this just happens to be a picture I took of her at Timmy's, having a cup of tea and with the shoulder or neck brace, because she had so many challenges. It was just unbelievable. But that lady walked in here and gave of her heart. Make me cry. Every day. So anyway, we go off and have tea together. But on this particular time, she was going to have an operation. She was having neck surgery. The point is, it was very delicate surgery, and one never knows, we always laughed. We'll say hello and have a hug goodbye. We don't know what's going to happen tomorrow, but anyhow. So we go and have these wonderful chats. But this woman came to this school as a volunteer because it was in my first class. Her niece, Linda, has said to me early in the year, can I bring my Auntie Lisa for show and tell? And I said, sure, whatever, never say no, whatever you want to bring. And so on the day of Linda's sharing time, her mom, Mrs. Cormier, brought Lisa in the wheelchair. And when it was Linda's turn to talk, she said all the wonderful things that her Auntie Lisa was for her. And they proceeded, the morning was over, and at the very end all the kids went out, and Lisa said to me, do you think I could come back again? I said, sure. I mean, it was very off the cuff on my part. I was just had a day and I was ready to go for lunch. I said, sure, every day if you want to. And in fact, she took that as gospel, and she came back every day that she could since 1993, until she passed away in 2009. The next day, or the very next day that she could come after she had been the show and tell for the day, she became, over that year, not just a volunteer or a person, a guest. She became part of the fabric of the school. The teachers trusted her, the principal trusted her. She was part of every class picture that was taken. She didn't have to wear a visitor's badge. She was part of the school, trusted by the parents. She hugged every kid before they went out home. She only came in the afternoon, pardon me, because mornings were really difficult for her. So, but when everybody knew her over the years, they grew up in the neighborhood, they'd call across the street down in Clarkson, you know, "Hi, Auntie Lisa," or they'd see her anywhere they'd see her. They just loved her. And yeah, she was like an angel hovering over this place. And obviously, I miss her. But for the time she was here, she made a huge difference in my life, in the life of all the people in the staff. She was just pure goodness. She hadn't a thing to say about anything other than sharing the joy that she had in her heart and love. But I think the thing that absolutely amazed me, you know, as we go home every day, that she was in such utter pain. Like, we have a cut, we have an operation. This woman had fake knees, fake fused discs in her back, gnarled hands that were, she had rheumatoid arthritis, that she was on such heavy medication to dull the pain, never take it away, she told me. But the miracle was, she said, as soon as she arrived at the door of Willow Glen and came in here, she forgot about the pain until she got home. Every day. It was like medicine for her soul. It was medicine for her soul, but she was medicine for each one of us, because, you know, you go through the ups and downs of life and stuff, and she was a constant. She never wavered. She was who she was. It was no masks, no pretend. She just was authentic, real, loving. And she had so much to give. And I'm overwhelmed because I just, yeah, great gift. When she had to go in for this last operation, Dinah and I said, what can we do? I mean, the whole school loves her. She's been around so long. Every student in this place knows her. And I think we came up with the idea of, let's just make her a blanket to wrap herself up in. She loves us. We're going to wrap her up in the love of Willow Glen. So we gave everybody a square, and we said to the teachers, just do it. Whatever comes into your head, you're making this for Auntie Lisa, put love on the blanket. And then Diane and I took all the squares, went down on the, remember the basement, on the, I have a ping pong table in the basement. We laid it all out, did it all up, took it down to her, and as soon as she had finished the operation, we put it in the chair in the hospital, and every doctor that came, or nurse that came past, they all stopped to ask her, what is that? What is that? And she would tell them. So she passed on the love that she had for the school and the children, and told all the nurses and doctors, and it was a really I happened to be there one day when she was telling somebody in Holy. It was just like an outreach to the staff, like, this kind of feeling exists, wow, you know. So anyway, that when she was able to get up and out of bed, she was better enough to get out of bed and sit in the chair, and she'd wrap herself up in this blanket, and she just felt warm and loved, and hey, that's what it was for. And so that was that we said, hey, well, you know, why don't we make, because we're so happy with the school and we love the school so much, why don't we make one to celebrate the 50 years of this wonderful place, as we did for Lisa. We had the formula, we kind of knew we could do it because we'd done it once before, and we had the idea of doing it, and then we just brainstormed the design. Diane had the 3 different t-shirt logos that we had, and And so it all took place with each of the classrooms doing these big ones, and then this is kind of magical because somebody, I don't know who, probably Robert Stansu, the principal, and Diane, and so when the teachers came up with giving each parent and family a different square or a rectangle to do at the one of the parent-teacher interview times. And the parents were thrilled, they just did it. And then Diane and I, after that, took them all to the dining room table and we pulled them all apart because we had to tape all these pieces on. And then we arranged where they would go and fit it all together. Diane's the mathematician in the family. She knows how to organize these things and make it all work out with the numbers and so on. So we knew the school colors, being green and blue, we figured out how to arrange it all and sewed it all together, and there you have it. And then we brought it to school and had all the teachers sit around and hem the final edges, so that each staff member that had done one of these put a few stitches into the doing of the final product. So that's the quilt story. And I'm just so sorry that it's not going to be here for the next 50 years. It's a shame. It's a tragedy to lose this beautiful place. I think if people only knew, this is the sort of thing you want to replicate in a teaching venue. This is this should be the kind of model to have a place for children to learn and grow.
I think this is a big part of tradition, this quilt. I really do. I hope that the parents of the kids that have gone to Willow Glen will carry on the tradition of Willow Glen. And one of the things that we started at Willow Glen was a program called FAST, and it was short for Families and Schools Together, and it kind of linked the families and the school, so that the families weren't afraid to come into the school, and they usually weren't, but some of the new parents might be a little weary about coming in. So that program we ran for 17 years, I believe, wasn't it? At Willow Glen, and the teachers did the volunteering. We came together, we ate dinner with the families, and we prepared dinner. The families prepared part of the dinner, we did the rest. But one of the special things that we did was when we first came together in the evening, the first thing we would do is a fast hello. And it was just, you would just say hello, Lawrence family, or hello Watson family, or whatever. And I remember so well going up to Food Basics and walking in the door and somebody saying, hello, Mrs. Watson, with the fast hello. So things like that carry on. And then some of the families carried on when they were their part was finished in the program, they carried on and did their own little fast dinners and had people in and carried on. So things like that, I think, carry on, and I'm hoping that they will.
The many and varied activities were seen as valuable teaching tools and are a treasured part of the Willow Glen experience.
Some of the activities that we did, we were very strong on extracurricular activities like choir, gym club, writing club, reading club, structures. We had a time where the kids could come and just build with different materials, sports clubs. There were several musicals put on for the school. We had lots of entertainment evenings that the parents could come and see their kids perform. And it wasn't just the chosen few that were performing, it was every child in the school. And that was one of our mandates, that every child would be on stage.
Of course, it is impossible to have a career as a teacher without being emotionally touched by some special events or people.
A couple of children that really really touched my heart was one little boy who was a bit of a behavior problem, but he left Willow Glen, went on, he moved out west, and then he joined the army, and he came back to Mississauga, and one day knocked on my door, and I thought, wow, and this is like years and years and years, and he says, you know, I just wanted to apologize to you for causing trouble when I was in your class. And I thought, wow, maybe I have made a difference in that little guy's life. So we had a chat, and he needed a ride someplace, so we gave him a ride. And then there was another little boy who was in my class, and he moved to Newfoundland. They were from Newfoundland, moved. He came back to Ontario. I think his sister was going to university or something, but he came back. And first place he wanted to come was Willow Glen. So he wanted to walk through Willow Glen, and he knocked on the staff room door and asked to speak to me. So we had a nice little chat. So those are some of the kids that, you know, have gone through my class and have meant a lot to me. There was a little boy, his name was Matthew, and he did have cancer, and he wasn't able to be at school, so we all went out. He needed a stem cell transplant, so everybody that could from the school, teachers, parents, all went to be tested for that, and it turned out that he was great. He survived, and I think he's still flourishing.
Willow Glen evolved not just with the times, but also with social and cultural changes as the population of the area diversified and new social and cultural backgrounds needed to be understood in order to better serve parents and students.
I think for certainly personally growing up in a very white Caucasian neighborhood, difference was not celebrated. In fact, you were encouraged then to be uniform and just the same. In fact, that was, you wanted the cookie cutter approach. You were supposed to write the same way, print the same way, do the same, stick pictures. Everybody had to be the same. That's my childhood upbringing, and that's one of the reasons I wanted to teach, because I hated school. I hated school with a passion, because I like making things, and difference was not celebrated. So one of the reasons I wanted to change is to say I want kids to love school. I want to love learning, and it's okay to be different, and it's okay to celebrate that. And but diversity, I think I probably ran into it after probably 3 or 4 years of teaching, when children were coming from various countries, and we were opening our doors and there were ESL classes and things like that. We were given a lot of professional development in how to reach out and what to expect, and how we could be more welcoming. The school board at the time took a lot of time and trouble to tell us as teachers, you can expect in the next couple of years that this is going to be happening, and we want you to know what to expect. And here they were trying to broaden our vision, and but I think it was a learning experience. You know what really taught me was the parents themselves bringing the children from Bosnia, war-torn places, and trusting me with their children who were crying, "Don't leave me, Mommy, don't leave me." In fact, Maria Vajadovic, precious friend, became, I remember the day she walked into my classroom, and her little boy Boshko, who's now in university, an engineer, love the kid, 23 years ago, leaving him there. He didn't know where he was, he couldn't speak the language, I was foreign. But I said, Maria, or Mrs. Vajadovic, trust me, make sure you come back early, and tell him in your language right now what's going to happen. Tell him you're going to he can play here, and you will be back to get him before the bell rings. And if you just do that once and establish the trust, he will love school. I will make sure. That's my job. And it worked. And after that, the 2 little brothers came. And so I think that was the thing. And also that's why I love teaching kindergarten, because the primary people are the first contact that parents have with the school system. And so you're kind of like doing outreach right at the back door. Welcome. And if the kindergarten people and the grade 1 people were welcoming, then the parents felt at ease. If the parents feel at ease, then the children feel at ease. So yeah, and you know, you were saying, did any of these people do anything special? Probably each one of them, because Maria, I see her every day when I go shopping at Metro. I talk to her if she's not busy at the meat department. And Carl, I forget his last name, and Carl's working with her. He was in my kindergarten. I see someone else at the bakery. I see someone else at the Laura Secord. I see kids working the library. I went to Chapters the other day. Dawn, what are you doing here? You know? So they are not, these children, the ones that I keep seeing all the time, they are special, giving back into the community local. I don't know about other levels, but you know what? Who knows where they'll go, you know? I do know we had a writing club. There was one kid that, out of the group of kids that came to the writing club we did a couple of years in a row, there's one girl that is in the point of publishing a novel. That's special, you know? She's in university taking writing courses, and she's, let me think of her name, Rebecca. And I know for a fact she's writing novels. That's awesome. She was empowered to try, and that's all we say. Whatever you're good at, go follow your dream. Find what you love, you know? You don't have to be drawing like everybody else or writing like everybody else. Whatever you want to do, whatever your passion is, follow it. And you know, a couple of the little boys in the quilting club say, can I do that? And I said, sure, come on, whatever. And we had a whole lot of little boys pushing the needle, you know? So anyway, it was a special place. And I always say, if I hadn't got old and gray and tired and life were forever, I'd teach forever, because it was just, it's special. But, you know, you have to give a chance to some other young person coming in. But there's Noor, very precious lady. She was in kindergarten, grade 1, and I meet her mom again in Metro, and we get together for a meal at their home, and they honor me. I taught 3 of the 4 children, 3 boys, and Noor was the oldest. She's in teacher's college right now, in university, about to be a teacher. I said, Noor, when you've got your ticket and you're ready to teach, and she wants to teach kindergarten, oh my goodness, oh my gracious, I said, I got a whole lot of treasure at home, it's yours. So it's kind of cool. It's very special. And her brother is a musician, and Mom and Dad were worried about, oh my goodness, it's not he won't make lots of money. I said, he will be a happy person. He's a musician. I said, play for me, Ramzan. And he got out, he played classical guitar like Segovia, like the creme de la creme guitars. He taught himself from the internet, okay? So another one of their children, not just because I've met them recently, an artist. I said, show me your portfolio. Holy lifting. This kid could teach at down at OCAD, you know, the Ontario College of Art and Design. I said, he needs to go there. You know, he's an artist. And the other one's a technology person. I mean, all 4 of these children, Mom and Dad, work as immigrant people to our country. But our school and our neighborhood welcomed them. And they work so hard, but all 4 children have given back to them to say thank you in their hard work.
I just know the last day of school will be difficult for me to say goodbye to the school, especially if it's not going to be standing. But you know what, I am looking forward to going to the new hillside and volunteering there, which I've done since I retired anyways, but it'll be in a new school. So I'll still see the kids and hopefully still see some of the teachers, and I look forward to doing that. So I'm not going to shut down because Willow Glen is shutting down.
Other than field trips, the Willow Glen Circus and Halloween were sure to be one of the highlights of the year. The Reading Club was an initiative that had students helping students in a great show of support and commitment to learning. Presentations, awards, shows, and movie nights brought families and students together. Physical activity always meant fun. Of course, playing and camaraderie are important as well. Always helpful and approachable, the staff at Willow Glen was truly appreciated by the parents. Thank you for caring and making learning fun.
I've never seen a staff that's worked harder than this staff. And it didn't matter what year it was. The administration, makes the staff move forward in initiatives, and which in itself helps the kids. So it's just an all-rounded good place to be.
This is a humble tribute to all that crossed these doors and were a part of Willow Glen in one way or another. Here is hoping that all those starting classes at Hillside in September will carry a little bit of the Willow Glen spirit with them.